As they say, the cake is a lie. Mhm. Hi there. Welcome, everybody, to Cast Iron Wednesday, and welcome back to my kitchen once again on this lovely Wednesday evening. Here we are again, getting ready to play with some cast iron tonight because this again is Cast Iron Wednesday. It is a tradition that a number of cooking channels have been doing here on YouTube for the past several years. I've been doing this now for just about 3 years, or just a tiny bit over 3 years, in fact. Somehow, almost every Wednesday, I've had a live video about having fun with cast iron because just that it is a lot of fun, and I very much appreciate everybody who's been kind enough to come back here again and again somehow to take part in the fun here and have some fun talking about and watching me play with cast iron. So thank you so much here. And because it is indeed cake night, as Selena Star says, chocolate cake. This won't lead to cravings. Not at all. Oh, no, definitely not. No, especially since we're going to be making two cakes and not just one. So, and thank you again to everybody who is kind enough to be here. Hello to Cast Iron Fanatic. Howdy, folks. Cast Iron Wednesday. And Pat Z. And hello, William Hurd, Val's Black Cat's Rule, and Elsie's Cat. I thought you weren't feeling well, Elsie's Cat. Nice to see you. Cynthia Wesley. And hello, Kimberly Miller and so many others here. I mean, it says here that there are actually 36 people lurking here tonight. And well, again, I'm very grateful to that. Thank you to everybody who's been interested enough to watch. Because yes, we are indeed making some cakes tonight. And we're going to be doing this with, at least one of these is indeed going to be cast iron. But as I mentioned in the preview for this video, one of these that we're going to be playing with is a vintage aluminum Bundt pan. This is one of those the official Bundt pan made by Nordic Ware. Although this is simply their bare aluminum pan and not a Teflon pan, not a nonstick pan. So this means that this cake should bake nice and fast. This thing here, I can estimate it to date to about the 1970s or so, which means this is good and vintage. On the other hand, the other one we're going to be playing with is not vintage. It is 2018. It's only good grief 5 years old. I'm actually surprised that I've had it for 5 years already, but apparently I have. And that, as some folks know, is the Lodge cast iron fluted cake pan, which, as you know, they called it the fluted cake pan because, the name Bundt was trademarked by Nordic Ware, and so they could not call it a Bundt pan as a result. But nonetheless, this is, of course, the one that was re-released by Lodge Cast Iron, and in fact, they've re-released it again. They re-released it in 2018, and that was when I managed to acquire this one. And then they re-released it. I think it was just last year, in fact. I do believe it is actually still available at the Lodge website. And quite frankly, anybody who is into any kind of serious baking at all should consider something like this a must-have in their kitchen. If not a cast iron fluted cake pan, but at least a Bundt pan. And of course, there's a whole lot of reasons for that, not the least of which how the baking phenomenon known as the tunnel of fudge that led to the Bundt pan becoming an essential household baking item. Pardon me. And I considered making the tunnel of fudge tonight here on Cast Iron Wednesday, but I decided against it largely because it takes too long. Um, Besides taking a while to put that cake together, it takes almost an hour to bake it. And then once you bake it, you have to leave it in the pan, as I found out the hard way, for about an hour and a half before you can take it out of the pan. So I wanted to rather do a recipe that we should be able to unveil by the time this live video ends tonight, hopefully. Although that means I better stop talking and start getting ready. So that means, we're just going to have a chocolate fudge cake tonight. Actually, two chocolate fudge cakes. Oh, gee, what a shame. Chocolate fudge cake. Oh, that's all. Hello, Val's My Cat's Rules. I have a, Bundt pan that's shaped like a rose. Yeah, they've made quite a few different shapes of those pans. Oh yeah, Google the tunnel of fudge because that recipe is a legend. It really is a piece of baking history. And if you don't know about the tunnel of fudge, then you really should learn about it. Not just about the recipe, but also about how that became really a phenomenon. It became one of those viral baking fads that everybody had to do, and it was largely because of that that the Bundt pan is still around today. And my recipe, on the other hand, is a much more basic chocolate cake. And in fact, this thing is so easy to do. It's the recipe I have on my website, and I have a link to it. That all of the ingredients are right here, and there really aren't that many. I'd say there's a total of let me count it out: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ingredients, and that includes all of the ingredients, including the liquids. So this is really not a hard cake to make. I've already started by measuring out 2 cups of flour. Let me see if I can try to get a better shot there. No, actually, I'm wrong. 4 cups of flour because we're doing 2 cakes. So I've got to do a double batch. But I did, in fact, do 4 cups of flour here in the good old mixer. And that's also good that I've got a chance to play with my mixer again now that, since I've had it redone, since I had it cleaned and refurbished. Okay, so that means from here, we've got to throw in 4 cups of sugar. And good thing I stocked up in advance. So despite the large amounts, we should not run out of the ingredients. On the other hand, what I might do, oh good, I'm not running out of measuring cups either. So let's do this as quickly as we can. Any extras, I'll just put in the sugar container. Ugh, come on. Here's 1. And this is kind of awkward getting this out of a bag, but still. Oh, I'm using brown sugar instead of white sugar, especially because we're doing a fudge cake, too. And I can't believe the handles on these measuring cups are already starting to bend. I'm seriously considering looking for another set of measuring cups. But until then, we'll just do what we have to. And not quite 3. We're going to throw in a little bit more to make it 3. There we go. There's 3. And now the last one, which is actually less than I expected. I really expected to go through more than a bag of brown sugar, but this is not quite 1 bag. So we're actually doing pretty good here. And come on, 4. So we have equal amounts of sugar and flour here. 4 cups of flour, 4 cups of brown sugar in this case. Then from here, we move on to 2 cups, double the amount of cocoa powder, which fortunately, I took the time to pre-measure that. It's a good thing because this stuff is like cornstarch. It gets all over the place. So that means all I have to do is just simply pour it in. That's what I mean. I'm sure you can see all of the cocoa smoke or whatever it is. Dust. That's it. Cocoa dust. And yeah, if I sniff, it does smell good, and I'm not going to get a buzz from it either. So anyway, there we go. 2 cups of cocoa powder. Yeah, I call it cocoa. Some people call it cacao, but I call it cocoa. Now we have to do 2 teaspoons each of baking powder and baking soda. Yeah, since I learned how easy it is to bake a cake, I could not help laughing at all of those stupid sitcoms and movies. You know the one, that's 1, that can't lose count. And 2, you know the one where the dad pretty much destroys the entire kitchen trying to bake a cake for his wife, probably on Mother's Day or something like that, when it really is not that difficult to bake a cake or to put a cake together. And here's one of soda, and here's two. Come on. Here's two of soda. All right. So far, so good. Then from there, last ingredient is 2 teaspoons, because again, we're doubling it, 2 teaspoons of salt. All right, so come on. Here's 1, and here is 2, more or less. There we go. There's 2 teaspoons of salt. Now, at this point, there's something I've learned that is actually an essential part of getting these cakes to work right, and that is to whisk together the dry ingredients. Whoops, there we go. There goes that cocoa. In fact, especially because this thing's so thick, I think I'll just get out the beater, and rather than try doing it the hard way. All right, because yes, you do have to whisk the dry ingredients in order to be sure to mix them together well and get some air into the batter as well, both of which are essential. So up we go and away we go. Don't want to get this all over the place, because again, you can see all this cocoa dust going crazy here. Since it's only the dry ingredients, we're not going to overmix it. So that means now we can move on to the wet ingredients. And my tablet just screen locked again. There we go. Okay. Since we've got to do double the amount, then we need 6 eggs. So let's move over. Let's see if I can get a good view here, because yeah, here we go. All right. I'm even going to crack the eggs into a bowl. And how about this? I even got the eggs out in advance and let them come to room temperature. I'm actually not doing too badly. Here's 1, 2. I don't need to mix the eggs in the bowl. We just do it this way, of course, to be sure that we don't get any shell into the cake. You know, who me? I never get shell when I crack my eggs. 3. And no, it didn't get shell either. That would have been the point for shell to show up, wouldn't it? 4. Come on. Oh, is this the one? Nope, it's not. So far, we're 4 for 4. 5. And 6. There we go. Meanwhile, that batter is mixing together well. But hey, we are on a roll here. And we have 6 eggs and everything. All right. Let me see. Now, of course, here's the part where we mix these things together one at a time. And again, I've got to be careful here. But yeah, this thing, as you can see, is actually mixing pretty good. Let me move this mouse over. Okay. I can probably even turn this up a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I forget the reason why we're supposed to mix the eggs in separately, but we are. And 6. All right. Eggs are taken care of, and now here's where we do another substitution, because this is going to be a fudge cake. Normally, the recipe would call for buttermilk at this point, but instead, to make this nice and rich. Where did I just put that? Here it is. Here's my 1 cup thing. We're putting in a different ingredient. How about ricotta cheese? Oh, is this thing still reversed? I still need to fix that. But anyway, yes, this is actually going to be a ricotta fudge cake. And for that, and this is the wrong one. This is, oh no, this is, yeah, that's right. This thing is so solid here. Probably even get a smaller scoop just to be safe. Here's my, no, I don't want the 3rd cup scoop. This is what I want, the 1/2 cup scoop. So 4 of these. 1. I think I better turn it down a little bit. I can see that thing's starting to splatter. 2. 3. Oh, it's my fault for making a double batch of batter. And yes, I did have the mixer clean too. Doesn't that sound fun? And there's 4. Maybe I'll turn just a little bit for good luck. Of course, this is all solid stuff. But from here, now we get to throw in some other things. Specifically, here's where we throw in 2 cups. Oh, hold on. Damn it. I saw that. Some of this is actually coming out. Where did my, my fault, I guess, for, I guess this may actually be too big. Well, I just got to be careful here. Okay, but while we're at it, now at least we get to throw in some liquids, specifically hot coffee. I think I can hear someone laughing from here, quite frankly. Where is my measuring cup? Here it is. Let's move over here and measure ourselves out. 2 cups of hot coffee. Why isn't this coming out? Oh, this lid is probably too tight. That's why. There we go. That's better. 2 cups of coffee. Because as folks know, coffee, there we go. Besides being the elixir of the gods, coffee will give your fudge or chocolate cake a much more rich taste. And once this goes in, we should be able to finish mixing it. There we go. Glug, glug, glug. And now that we've done that, let's see if this works any better. I'm going to start slow. Come on, come on. Oh, good grief. Okay. Yeah, here's where the chaos comes in. Apparently, I'm great. Hoping this, I just got it all over the place. Oh, well, I'll have to manage. Let's see if we can do this right here. Actually, I know what to do. Get myself a bigger mixer bowl for one. But actually, what I can do is just start. There we go. Moving it down this way. Little by little. So far, this looks like mud. All right. Come on, come on. Let's give it another try, shall we? I'm just putting it on low. And I think we got it. All right, there we go. Now it's settling down. Now it's starting to work. Okay. All I did was get the, spill coffee all over the place. That's all. But now it should actually settle down. Gotta wipe up the rest of the residue here. All right. Well, there is something of a learning experience, I guess you could call it, about trying to make a double batch of frosting. Oh, but now it looks like it's starting to settle in, and it's actually starting to become frosting now. Not frosting, batter. And we're not quite done yet. We've got one more wet ingredient, actually two more wet ingredients, and that would be 2/3 of a cup of vegetable oil, and then the vanilla extract, and then we'll be ready. All right. Okay. So now comes my 1/3 cup. So yeah, what was that about the dad destroying the kitchen in order to do this? Well, again, that's my own fault, of course, for deciding to do it this way. Could be worse. But now, of course, we do need that extra liquid. So 2/3. This is a 1/3 cup, so we need two of these. There's one. This is canola oil. And here's two. There we go. Chaos averted. I shouldn't say that too loudly, should I? All right. And finally, 4 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Good thing I have no shortage of that. There we go. And with that, we actually have our fudge batter. Whew. Okay, if you want to pay for an espresso powder from King Arthur works well. I think you could have lowered the bowl a bit. Well, yeah, that's because this thing here is really on two settings. It's either up or down, unfortunately. You know, this mixer has this handle here that will raise it and lower it, and that's it. So I don't have much of a choice of that, unfortunately. Anyway, stop and scrape the bowl. Good point. Yes, good point. Good point. Scrape the bowl. Thank you. I heard that. We want to be sure that we're getting all of the bits here. I can certainly agree with that, and thank you very much for the advice. All right. Okay. So far, so good. However, this thing definitely looks like batter now. Although I better get these little bits off of the top of the paddle. There we go. Now I'd say now we're probably golden. And I'm still mixing it only on low. Oh my God. I just did something I shouldn't have done. I licked the spoon. Oh man. Anyway, I've heard Alzheimer's referred to as type 3 in the US. Oh, please, not the Alzheimer's crap. Okay. I'll only say this once. Aluminum cookware does not cause Alzheimer's disease. Period. The end. It has long since been proven. So I'm not even going to get into that. All right. So I have nothing to worry about getting Alzheimer's from this aluminum Bundt pan or my aluminum Magna Light Dutch oven or my aluminum or anything else I have made of aluminum, or you too either. I will say that again, aluminum is safe, and yes, I have the references to prove it. They are not stupid YouTube videos by some chiropractor or nutritionist or something like that, you know, which isn't even an official term, warning you about silly things like that. Okay, that's enough of that. However, having done that, we don't want to overmix the batter, which means let's put a couple of these ingredients to the side. And now that we've done that, we've got to start preparing our cake pans. And that, of course, means as they say. Well, these spoons are clean. Let's put them back. Means now comes the fun part. That's where we get to spray the out of them with baker's spray. Oh, and I actually just got 2 extra containers of baker's spray just to be safe. So let's start with 1 Baker's Joy. And essentially want to be generous. Holy cow, these fumes. Oh yeah, that'll get people started. Oh no, fumes. Well, you're supposed to spray the you know what out of it. I think I did. Let's do just a little bit more of that. And we will do number 1. Okay, I gotta get this thing. 1 second. I get this thing out of here. Come on. There we go. Come on. Ugh. Oh, I'm gonna have to wash my hands too. I'm getting batter all over them. And where did I just put that? There it is. Scrape off as much of this as possible. I'm still making a mess. Oh well, it's not that hard to clean up. Okay, now for cake number 1. I believe I only need to do it till the cake is about maybe, or the pan is about 2/3 full. Probably not even that much. There we go. And in fact, I'm going to stop there so that I have enough for the Lodge pan. Here. Okay. Because here comes number 2. Actually, let's get this away so that the Baker's Joy fumes don't get all over it. And here comes number 2. I think I may, in fact, need to break out another sprayer. Although this looks like it's not doing too badly. These fumes are something. To see why conspiracy theorists go crazy over them. Oh no, I'm gonna get cancer. I think there's just enough here, in fact. In fact, into the trash this goes. Okay, now for number 2. Oops. In fact, I really hope I didn't overdo it with the other one. I really hope not. Don't panic, as they say. Oh man, may actually have to pour some of the batter out of the other one. This is not as much as I'd hoped. Oh well, do what we have to. Good grief. I made a double batch, and usually a single batch is more than enough for this large cake pan. All right. Wow. I did not expect this. Okay. Well, as I said, a little bit more. All right. Well, then I guess we will have to sacrifice a little bit of this. Just a bit. That's better. Man, really hope this doesn't spill all over the place now. There we go. Well, despite that, I think we have it. Phew. All right. Take care of this extra batter. Okay. Let's get one last view. Yeah, more or less, I'd say more or less equal. Plenty of room for them to rise. So, spoon it out. Yeah, I know, a little late now, unfortunately. I hope that doesn't cause problems. But I had better get, whoops. I had better get these into the oven as fast as possible. So, let's do it. Here comes the large pan. Yeah, actually, this is pretty good. This is more than half full. Don't want to burn myself either. Here's the large pan. And the Nordic Ware pan. Well, I have to say, if those cakes stick, it'll be entirely my fault. Wow. Okay, now, there we go. Now that we've done that, I have some time to kill as well as a mess to clean up. But let me first wash my hands here. And then we can get down to some talking. And besides, I do want to show you something as well. There we go. Okay. Let me some extra chocolate that spilled. That was a little more messy than I expected, I will admit that. But nonetheless, we are still under control here. The oven is at 350 degrees. It was preheated, which means the time right now is 8:34. So we should probably check it at about 10 past 9, which is 40 minutes. In fact, especially since that is not a full pan, that may even be more than enough, but we will find out. Okay, look, no pans in the oven after it was preheated. Yes, yeah, actually, that's true. To be absolutely honest, I don't know if I can call this bragging, but I have made a point since the beginning of never storing pans in the oven. So I did one of those cast ironitis videos on it about storing pans in the oven, yes. But that was honestly just for the video. Otherwise, I can honestly say that fortunately it's just a habit. I've been in the habit of not storing pans in the oven, and I have to say I don't regret that. Okay. Let's see what else I might have missed for comments here. Have you ever made fried potatoes? I've made French fries. I have done it, and they actually turned out pretty nice. But yeah, the spiral potatoes are indeed something I want to do very soon. Aiming for 2 weeks from tonight, hopefully. Next week is the first weekend of the month, the first Wednesday, that is, I'm sorry, not weekend, the first Wednesday of September, which is going to be my traditional Q&A session in front of the rack there. But I'm going to aim for 2 weeks from tonight doing some deep frying, including some spiral potatoes. When you open my oven to cook, it's some iron in it. Yeah, I know that feeling as well. Yeah, the countertop piece. No, I didn't exactly make it. The countertop is actually a design of granite called what's it called? Called black Marinase or Marinas. I forget which. And I had it when I first moved into my apartment back in 2010, which is really when I pretty much started doing these videos. And people have commented on this countertop ever since then. And this was back in when I was living in Massachusetts. People love this countertop. I got so many comments about the countertop. It's like pretty much I was ready to give the countertop its own Facebook fan page. Um, Got to the point where finally in 2019, I had to move out of that apartment and I moved to that rat hole in in the other place that I was living in before I finally moved here. And yeah, I don't have good things to say about that place. I mean, yes, my roommate was nice, and that was where I got the cats and everything like that. But the place itself, I have some not so nice things about that, and I would rather not talk about it. But anyway, I really, really miss this countertop to the point where for my birthday, I think it was 2019, that sounds about right. I actually got this, I got a big piece of granite, especially for you folks, so that I could have this countertop again in these videos here because people liked it so much. And I've been using it ever since. And I made sure to take it with me when I moved here to New York. Because, yeah, I agree. The design is really nice. And once again, it's called black. It's either pronounced Marinas or Marinase. I don't know how it is pronounced, but that is what it is there. Okay, having said that, let's see what else we have here for comments. Oh, yeah, now I do want to show you one other thing. The that I only paid $5 for that Bundt pan. It came with the original box, which was nice. I mean, it's a nice vintage design, but there are some clues on the back of the box that I can actually identify that this likely dates to the 1970s, other than the fact that I have it upside down. What's interesting here is two of several things. Number one, look at this. If this pan was Teflon coated, meaning that they consider whether or not this was a Teflon coated nonstick pan or not. The other thing is, get this. Here's this. This is what I want to show everybody. How to temper this pan if it has natural cast aluminum interior, no Teflon coating. Temper. They call it tempering. They're telling you to season this aluminum pan. Before using a tempering process is advised to keep cake from sticking. To do this, first wash pan with soap and hot water, dry thoroughly, grease well with an unsalted shortening. Do not use liquid shortenings as they have too low a browning point. Place utensil in a moderate oven, 250 to 300 degrees for an hour. This tempering process applies to any item made of cast aluminum. Let me say that again. This tempering process applies to any item made of cast aluminum. They want you to season the aluminum pan before using it. But nobody does that. I didn't do it. Nobody does that because, well, we know just the same as with cast iron, really. With the aluminum pan, what you really want to do is exactly what we did just now. You need to give it a good nonstick coating in order to bake your cakes in the oven. And that's why people simply take their baker's joy or baker's goop or whatever it is, and they spray it to heck before putting the batter into the pan. So I thought that was really, really interesting that there are actually instructions here on seasoning a cast aluminum pan. And one other thing. This is how I know this is from the 1970s. It has the recipe here for the tunnel of fudge cake. So that definitely means this was made after the tunnel of fudge became a sensation. And that was what, 1966, 67, I think. So I am being charitable and I'm going to estimate this pan was probably made in the 1970s. And that's how I can tell. So I got a lot of information off of this box and I'm quite happy about it. And now that once I'm done here, I already have 2 cast iron cake pans, as well as a lot of other cast iron baking stuff. And especially since I only paid $5 for that aluminum pan, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to keep it forever. Not like my cast iron pans. So most likely this Bundt pan will probably be a present for someone, maybe a birthday present, maybe a Christmas present. I'm not sure. Actually, I've also had another idea. One more bit of blabbing, and then I promise I'll get back to your comments. I promise. And that is this. Yesterday, I decided to sign up to attend a book signing. One of my favorite YouTube channels, Tasting History with Max Miller. He's just released a cookbook and he is on a book signing tour. I mean, I'm sure you folks know about Tasting History. That is a wonderful channel. And he is doing a book signing, and I decided I'm going to go and get his book and have it signed. And I'm going to be doing this on Wednesday, October 18th in New Jersey. And I'm gonna go and take the book sign and get a signed copy of his cookbook. I thought of taking that Bundt pan with me and giving it to Max Miller as a gift, but I've decided not to do that because I'm not sure how much use he would get out of it. I mean, a Bundt pan is wonderful, but I'm not sure how many cakes he really bakes because he's so busy with his channel. So instead, I'm going to go and find Max Miller a present and give it to him when I go to the book signing. And I can't say what that present is yet. However, if you know me, then I think you know what I'm going to intend for that present to be. Okay, and enough of that. Okay. Um, anyway, there's my little confession, and we'll see how all that turns out. And yes, I'm gonna try to get a video of it in about a month, in a little bit more than a month and a half on October 18th. All right, now back to business. I did say 10 past 9. We still have about 30 minutes to go. So, okay, yeah, that's my birthday. Well, happy birthday, Handsome Stone, too. All right, now finally, let's look at some comments here and see. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are probably ripping apart my attempt at baking a cake tonight, and I don't blame you either. I think the heat further enhances the chocolate, and when I say that, that's what Google said. That's interesting. Made some cinnamon extract. This was done in 6 weeks, and it's really good. Ooh, that sounds interesting, Mark. That in itself sounds like an interesting project here. I guess nobody knows why the coffee needs to be hot. Well, I think the reason why it needs to be hot, in fact, is the fact that we're using cocoa powder. The idea is you're supposed to use hot chocolate, hot water. The original recipe for this cake actually mentions mixing hot water with the cocoa powder because in order to I guess partially melt it as well as to even it out. So because of that, for the fudge, instead of that hot water, we use hot coffee. That's my guess anyway. As I've said many times, I'm not a professional, so maybe I'm wrong, and I wouldn't mind getting some additional advice about that. Okay. Anyway, I think it's to yeah, I think it's to I think it's to make it better, make it mix better. I think the heat further enhances the chocolate. And when I say I think, that's what Google said. Yeah, there you go. That's what you meant about that. So I don't think it matters, but then I'm no chef or science-minded cook. Well, I like the science, and I think the science actually helps as far as the cooking is concerned, even though I'm not a chef either. We'll give it plenty of room to raise, not to worry. This is true. Both of those pans are only a little bit more than half full. Usually, when I make a cake in that cast iron bundt pan, I usually do it to about three-quarters of the way full, and it still rises excellent. So you are right about that. I think by spreading it around, I'd say we'll probably have a couple of nice cakes. Um, Pouring from one pan to another. What could go wrong? Yes, exactly, honey badger. We'll see what happens now, won't we? Yeah, spoon it out. Oh boy. Okay, I'd try one with hot and cold and see if it makes a difference. Well, that's interesting. The idea of these challenges is we're supposed to do the same dish so that you can see how it turns out, so that how one turns out in aluminum and how one turns out in cast iron. Yeah, because I'd considered maybe I should have done the chocolate cake in the aluminum and made a pound cake in the cast iron. Well, that could always be another time. Okay. A surprise. I like surprises. Yeah. I reseasoned some skillets yesterday, Debbie, just to do it on top of the stove. Well, I'm betting it turned out okay. There was probably some smoke, yes, but stovetop seasoning certainly works because the whole point, of course, is simply you are just burning or carbonizing a layer of seasoning onto the pan. So that part is certainly true. Answer our group's question concerning coffee in the batter. Why does coffee have to be hot? What blend did you use? Medium, dark, breakfast special. I used Folgers. I'm not a coffee drinker. I can't really tell you about the fancy or different blends of coffees or anything. I just got your typical Folgers dark coffee, plain dark coffee. So, besides, if you used a flavored coffee, then you know that that would show up in the in the cake as well. On the other hand, maybe a hazelnut coffee might not be a bad thing in this kind of a cake. Nonetheless, that as I said, I'm going to accept the answer of what they said that the hot water helps it to mix better. I will go with that because you saw how my mixing started out there. I ended up splashing coffee all over the place, but then it finally settled down and it actually became a decent batter. Okay. Uh, Making a cake cold using cold and warm coffee to see if it makes a difference is almost like science. Yes, it is. Honey Badger just finished a John Wright Dancing Bears pan. Seasoning came out great. Oh, nice. Love to see some pictures of what you make in it, whether it's cookies or cornbread or cakes or anything like that. Don't forget, yeah, thank you. I have a slab of black granite I use for rolling out dough. Well, yes, this countertop, that is another good thing too. It is really good for rolling out dough, whether it's pie dough, pizza dough, or the like. You have all of that space to work on instead of just like say a cutting board, for instance. So that's definitely something. Um, could you make a preheated chocolate fudge cake in this like the cast iron? Yes, you can. Um, Several years ago, I did make a cake in a preheated aluminum pan, and it worked too. I did not want to do that tonight because nobody does it that way with aluminum pans, and I wanted to try to be fair. I suppose I could have preheated the cast iron pan and not the aluminum, but as I said, I wanted to try to treat them both the same way to see whether or not there is any actual difference in the cakes. Of course, now, like you said, since I poured the batter from one cake pan to the other, who knows what it'll turn out to be? But all we can do is find out. Maybe I ruined it. I hope not. Okay. Anyway, help keep the pan Yeah, keep the pan clean and dry and it will last. Cool for the book. Yes, indeed. The book signing. Yeah, I am looking forward to the book signing now. And that's actually kind of the reason why, as well. I didn't expect this either, but I've just committed myself. Next weekend, I'm going back to Brimfield again. Yeah, I'm actually going to take the 5 hour trip now here from the Binghamton, New York, and head out to Brimfield, Massachusetts. But yes, I am. I hope the weather is okay because I'm currently committed now to be there at Brimfield next Saturday. I do have at least one particular pan that I'm looking for, but other than that, well, it's the Brimfield experience. You can only see what might end up finding there. All right, I bought that book for my. I bought that book for. What does that say? I missed that. Isn't the aluminum cake pan going to bake faster? That it's entirely possible, yes, because of course the aluminum passes the heat right through. The iron does have to heat up more. So you are correct about that. It's entirely possible the aluminum pan may be done faster than the cast iron pan. I should probably take a look, in fact, and see how the cake is right now. Oh, what the hell? Excuse me. Um, okay, there, that's interesting. Just got a call from Portugal. Gee, you don't suppose this is a spammer, do you? All right. Let me make sure I didn't hang that up. Good. I did not answer it. Okay, good. Okay, where was I? Oh yeah, that's right. We should probably take a look at these cakes right now and see how they are turning out. Let me see if I can get a good angle here. That's always a problem. Trying to do this right. There's the aluminum. Not bad. Although I'm kind of worried about the way the edges. Yeah, you're right. I might have ruined it by pouring it like that. On the other hand, I can't really see that much. So, I'm not sure yet how this cake has turned out, but all I can do is find out. What now? Just got a text in addition to. Oh, God. Whoever it is, they left a voicemail. Good grief. Okay, I'm curious. Who the hell from Portugal and. Ugh, no, I don't want to do that. I need to check my voicemail. Let's see what this does. Yeah, that sure sounds like Portugal, doesn't it? So apparently, I got a call from that says it was from Portugal with a Chinese voice speaking. Oh boy. Okay. My mother had an aluminum chicken fryer, and I grew up making popcorn in that pan every Saturday night till I got married. And any night, other night we wanted it. I wish I could have got that one. I love Folgers for making coffee liquor. Yeah, I really hope I didn't ruin that cake by pouring it like that. All right. I've gifted each lid a Le Creuset Dutch oven. Oh, each kid. I've gifted each kid a Le Creuset Dutch oven. Yes, they're very appreciative. We'll have to duke it out for the rest of my cookware when I'm gone. Shit. I don't blame you one bit. Oh, yeah, I'm a little worried that I may have possibly ruined the cake by pouring it out. But well, if I did, then I did. Then that's my own fault. I've made enough cakes that I can make cakes. So I will simply have to accept the blame if in fact that's how it turns out. Okay. Isn't the aluminum cake pan gonna bake faster? Well, yeah. Okay. Going down the list here, they're concerned about your car warranty running out. You're probably right. That's probably what it said. They said they can't wait to see the cakes. Maybe they're watching from Portugal. They're calling from Portugal for the tunnel of fudge recipe. Yeah. When using the aluminum pan, I decreased to 325 and baked a teeny bit longer. All of this is good advice. I mean, obviously, I've been cooking in cast iron all this time. I don't have that much experience cooking in aluminum. I'll be the first to say that. They want to sponsor you with Tefal. Cute. Thank you. Thank you for the comments. Okay, what is the name of the YouTube channel that you are going to the book signing? The YouTube channel is called Tasting History. Tasting History with Max Miller. It is a wonderful channel, and that thing has become incredibly popular. It's like he only started his channel about maybe 3 years ago, and he has almost 2 million subscribers. Jealous? Me? What are you talking about? But no, actually, yeah, no. I mean, really, I mean, just because he's got a very, very delightful personality, he's obviously an amateur like me, except that his baking skills are better. Um, and he does a great job giving history lessons with every video. So I would very much encourage taking a look at his channel, Tasting History with Max Miller. And that's why I appreciate it to the point that, yeah, I am thinking of hunting and finding him a gift. I will say that. So I love when Max makes something that tastes yucky. Yeah, that's true. He's had some fails. There's no denying that. I've had some fails too. I'm hoping now against hope that that cake doesn't turn out to be a fail. It's my own fault, I think. All right, but actually, I shouldn't dwell on it. What's done is done. Okay, I love when Max, yeah, comment about Clico cast iron. Car warranty. But anyway, that's, as I said, that's where we are right now at this point. We still have about a little more than 10. Oh, actually, the cake is starting to rise a little better. So I think we're doing pretty good here. Maybe I'll try again to get a to try to get a view of the cake here. Yeah, here comes another roller coaster ride. Sorry about that, folks. Doing my best. Try to give you a view here. That here is the aluminum pan. It's looking better now. It does look like the center is rising now too. So it might actually work. Over on the other side is the cast iron. And you can't really see it too well from this angle, unfortunately. But the cast iron one does look like it's rising too. However, there's a possibility it might work, although it's hard to tell at this point. Okay. Nonetheless, all right, back to business here, folks. For the last time. Okay, Corey, we shouldn't eat before showtime. How is the cast iron in your lye bath? Yeah, I actually haven't even touched that since I dumped that piece in. That has been about 1 week. I wouldn't be surprised if I could actually take that thing out now because the lye bath does a good job. However, I have to admit, well, maybe this weekend I might take it out. That yeah, there it's that 12-inch Asian-made Dutch oven that I got as that excuse me, that a friend sold me for 20 bucks last week. It's been in the light tank for just about a week now. I should probably take it out and check it out by this weekend, although I'm a little busy right now. Tomorrow night I have to mow the lawn. And then Friday, well, hopefully I'll get to do another cooking project because I still have videos to produce. And I mean, the algorithm demands it. So I really want to try to keep up with that. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna be trying to pull all their iron up before the weather changes. All right. While we're waiting, I think I will comment as well a little bit about baking and bring out something else as well because I got to play with those two pans, but we're getting into pumpkin spice season, and I am going to have to look for an excuse to play with this other cast iron cake pan. This wonderful thing here. This is the pan, in fact, that I found at Brimfield. Um, Early, in the comments tonight before the video started, somebody commented about how they had never found a large cast iron cake pan out in the wild. And yeah, those bunt pans or those cast iron cake pans, those are real treasures, that's for sure. They're extremely rare. I've managed to discover three of them in the wild. One I actually did get, and this was maybe 6 or 7 years ago. Again, it was at Brimfield. This was a pan that was a recast. And in fact, it was full of holes. It had 5 holes in it. I took the time to plug those holes up with, what do you call it? With what's that bonding stuff that I used? Oh my God, I can't believe I've gone blank here. Um, oh hell, I forget. But anyway, I plugged those holes up and it actually worked great. And then I ended up giving that pan away as a Christmas present. So that was that. However, at Brimfield, in fact, it was just 2 years ago on September 11th, 2021. That's when I came across a large bunt pan with a $175 price tag. But that large bunt pan happened to be sitting right next to this. And this had a $35 price tag, and the guy offered to sell it to me for 20. So yes, this is, I have to admit, this was one of the best scores I've ever made, and I've been certain to do some cakes in this, but I definitely need to do more baking in this, that's for sure. And we are definitely getting into baking season now. So yeah, I should really plan on doing another cake in that, maybe another pumpkin spice cake sometime very soon here. Hmm. But yeah, the pan itself, I'm actually, other than just the fact that I found it, yeah, this is a very nice pan too. The experts who know about cast iron cake pans call this, say that this is a design called the Monarch. Apparently, there's a Triple Crown series. There's the Monarch. Apparently, there's a Jester, and apparently there's a Queen or two as well. But nonetheless, this one here is the Monarch. This is a little smaller than the large cake pan. Not much, maybe about half an inch or so smaller than the large pan, but definitely smaller, and it has a little bit more volume. But it is quite thick and quite heavy. Yeah, the Castle pan. Yeah, that is a nice one. That one is also made from aluminum, and it's also from Nordic Ware. As you say, that thing is called the Castle Bundt because yeah, it's got a very nice design. I have to say, Nordic has some really really nice designs in those cake pans of theirs. I mean, I can't deny that, and they're quite tempting, and for that reason as well. If I didn't already have a big collection of baking cast iron, that is, that I'm still making efforts to try to use now. So, I mean, I really should not go for things like that other baking pan when I still have things like this that I need to use. So, this was yet another Brimfield find, one that I have actually used a few times. My last time I think I used it was about a year or so ago, and in fact, it's dusty now. I'm gonna have to clean this up. I made fruitcake in this, in fact, on Christmas. So yeah, so I am still doing my best to rotate through my collection. This, of course, is a Turk's head pan, and as I learned, the reason why they call it that is because these cups here are shaped in the same manner as the helmets used by the Turkish army in the days of the what do they call it, the Islamic Revolution, when Muslim armies were expanding out all over Europe and Africa and Asia and all that. Yeah, so because of this, they call this a Turk's head pan. As far as I can tell, that is not really a racist remark. I hope, because it's not meant to be. It's only meant to be that it's shaped like their helmets. It's not meant as some kind of a derogatory comment. And I won't even get into that anymore either. So I have the smaller version of that bunt pan. It's called a hoot. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I might want to see that as well. So poor people are happy, rich people are mostly a-holes. Yeah, it sure seems that way, doesn't it? Okay, we are getting close to that time And in fact, this cake is not looking too bad at all at this point, although I am kind of worried still that because of my own actions, it may indeed have stuck. Um, I should probably not push it too much. I think I will wait another 5 minutes before I try taking it out of the oven and testing it. And then we will go from there. But yeah, I mean, baking, collecting baking pans can be an addictive hobby in itself. And I've got more baking pans than I know what to do with already. Besides the cake pans, of course, I have my cornbread pans and my corn stick pans and my John Wright baking molds. And also on top of all that, last year, yeah, that's right. How could I forget? We're getting into that time of year as well. And I just got this last year as well. You folks may remember this one. Ugh, the Lodge Skull Pan. And Lodge actually calls it a skull cake pan, which is, yeah, very nice design to it, too. They did this as part of their Dia de los Muertos series, although I'm sure most people will consider this to be more of a Halloween decoration than anything else. Not that there's anything wrong with that. So, yeah, among other things, I've got some skull-shaped cakes or cornbread or something to bake at some point or another this fall so that I can keep using this. I hope I can go out a little while Saturday since it's a temp drop. Hopefully, oh, yeah, that's right. For you folks there, that means the ridiculously hot weather is finally breaking. It has, we're already getting into more moderate temperatures here, although it's still very nice. It's typically in the 60s and 70s every day. It's no longer hitting 80 every single day, but it's so far the weather is still beautiful here in New York, and we're enjoying it while we can. I'm going to make white cake with raspberry jelly filling in the skull cake pan. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. Oh, yeah, I get it. Raspberry filling. Yes, blood. That's actually very amusing. Laziness. They are flat lazy. Oh, I guess you're talking about millionaires still. Well, I'm sorry about that. But yeah, baking in cast iron has got again. I've gotten used to baking in cast iron to the point where, as I said, I'm still not much. I really have very little experience at baking in aluminum, which is why I'm not sure if I did ruin that cake by pouring the batter out exactly as you said. Maybe I should have scooped it out, but like it or not, I think we're going to have to find out the hard way or I'm going to have to find out the hard way. And if in fact that cake does stick, that's my own fault. I really have no one to blame for that but myself. Still, I would go crazy with icing colors decorating those skulls or Dia de los Muertos. Yeah, that is definitely a project you would want to do with your kids, I would say. However, we are getting down to it at this point. This doesn't look too bad. I guess we've gone this far. Let me readjust this once again. Camera again. Come on. There we go. And let's move the light over a little bit as well. And let's see what we get. Oh yeah, my own fault. Actually, I should be optimistic rather than pessimistic. Let's hope things turn out well. Got my gloves, and I guess all we can do is find out. And, hmm, you know, eh, here it is. At first, I was wondering why we've got all this foam, but I realized that's probably from all of that baker's joy. However, there we are. That's the aluminum pan. And now I had better find out. Whoops. Yeah, sorry, I did it again. My apologies. Um, this is as good as any, I guess. Find out whether or not this cake is done? And the answer is no, it is not done. I don't even have to put it I don't even have to put it in there. This cake is not done yet. Okay, so back into the oven it goes. I would guess maybe for like about another 10 minutes or so. All right. I guess 40 minutes is not enough with this aluminum pan. So head back over this way and gently. I didn't even have to puncture that. I could tell just from the outside that this is definitely not done. So we will continue from there. It's all right. There's still plenty of time. I'm not in a rush. So far we are only just a little bit more than an hour into this, which is pretty typical. On the other hand, I think I should move that light back. Yeah, there we go. That's a little better. All these camera movements here. I'm surprised folks haven't gotten motion sickness on my videos. The Lodge Guru that I was telling you about has 3 sportsman grills. The one that he uses, he painted. The other 2 are displays and are seasoned. That's interesting. I guess yeah, that's right. There is some kind of a grill paint or oven paint, I understand, that is used especially so that it won't burn off when you heat it up, if I understand right. Pancake balls. Are we talking about, like, say, Abel Skeever? I can't even pronounce that, I think. Oh, yeah. Anyone actually do Abel Skeevers? Well, there we go. I think the younger people lazy. No. Lodge Guru. Okay. Just going through the comments very quickly. Facebook buddy that used high temp paint to spray the base itself claimed it's easier to clean. And Val's Black Cat's rules. I make regular pancakes. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, pancakes are fun and easy to make. Yes. Yeah. I now have a big box of pancake mix that I have to work my way through too, as well. So even though I love homemade pancakes, I have to admit that pancake mix in a box is pretty good. I actually won't deny that. What are able skeevers? Able skeevers, if I'm even pronouncing it right, those are in fact like pancake balls. I believe they're from either the Netherlands or maybe Norway. No, I think it's more like the Netherlands. And if you look online for able skeever, you will see that they actually sell special pans for them that look like they have a whole bunch of little round holes in it, like you might put golf balls in, for instance. And that's actually meant for putting your pancake batter into there and turning it around until you end up with little round cake balls. On the other hand, they're also used in Asia for making takoyaki, which are octopus balls. And I would really say look it up yourself, because I think you would. I really could not do a very good job describing that. Everybody remember to hit the like button. Try to make them once on my Griswold back when I had a gas stove. Blue moon tonight won't be another supposedly till 2037. Oh yeah. If I understand right, the blue moon tonight is not actually going to be blue, though. I believe that's just a term for it. It's supposedly just called that because this is supposed to be the largest moon, full moon, that we're going to see in a long time. So enjoy your view of it, folks. My door has the wildlife mallard on it. Ooh, more light than the rest of the grill, which I wouldn't want to cover up the. Oh, I see. In other words, you have the large sportsman grill, and it has the door from their sportsman grill with the mallard duck on it, which is nice. And congratulations for that. Maybe even that particular door might have come as a separate part, perhaps. But if so, well, again, use it with pride. That's the best I could say. But be careful. Those doors on the sportsman grill have been known to break. Lodge redesigned the Sportsman Grill only a couple of years ago, and that's one thing they did. They got rid of that little drawbridge door, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, I think. On the other hand, it does seem like that since Lodge discontinued their Sportsman Grill and now they have their Sportsman Pro, suddenly a whole bunch of people are making imitations of that Sportsman Grill. I've seen at least three or four of them now, all from Asian makers, and they are all pretty much carbon copies of the Sportsman Grill. I wonder if they're the same size as the Lodge ones and if they can take replacement parts from Lodge. That might be interesting to find out. I use Adam Ragusi's recipe for pancakes. Yeah, blue moon is second full moon in a month. Yes, there you go, and you're right. So no, the moon is not actually going to be blue. That's only a term for it. Clico, I do cook able skewer. Learned from my Danish grandmother. I'm still waiting to inherit my mother's cast iron able skewer pan. She's 101 and counting. Congratulations to you on that. That's definitely well. The best I could say is that congratulations that you don't have to inherit it yet. Let's try it that way. Okay, imagine having three sports. I can't imagine having three sportsman grill, but he has a large collection and he's been at it for decades. Yeah. Well, everybody has their little fetishes. I mean, I've got more cast iron than I know what to do with, for instance. You can still get sportsman grill parts from Lodge. Yes, you can, and there's still going to be a market for them. So I guess they'll be keep making them as long as they keep people keep buying them. I saw a guy on YouTube that collects them. Boy, he's got a million. I think I know who you're talking about. That guy there, he actually runs his own Facebook group too. He calls it Cast Iron Grill and Hibachi World. That again, Cast Iron Grill and Hibachi World on Facebook. That is a Facebook group, especially for people who collect cast iron grills. And boy, some of their collections are really, really amazing too. All right, let's check that. Maybe we can check that cake once again. I hope that cake didn't fall, but from the way this cake is shaped, maybe it did. You're about to see an interesting sight, folks. Wait till when I take this cake out of the oven. I'm sure some of you are probably going to groan, and maybe not in a good way. But what can I do? It's my own fault. Let's take it out. And actually, I'm not so sure. May or may not stick. Take a look now. There we are. There is the aluminum cake pan. And now this time I think I can safely use the skewer. Oh yeah. Oh, a tiny little bit came off. I'm not sure if that means it's not done or not. Let me try one last time carefully. Don't want to ruin it. No, it's still not done yet. Still not quite done. It's actually taking longer than I expected. Well, in that case, back into the oven it goes one more time. All right. Appreciate your patience, folks. But at least it does seem a little bit more solid now. I'll give it about another 5-10 minutes at the most. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you know what? Here comes the Lodge. Okay, here. Boy, I have not used Baker's Joy before. Look at all that foam. That's all I could say. But here is the Lodge pan. And actually, this cake has risen a lot better than I thought, too. Not bad at all. Let me wipe this off first. And then get to see whether or not this cake is done. And no, this cake is also nowhere near done. Oh, I was kind of hoping they'd be finished by now, but with both of them, it's not the case. Yeah, I am definitely not used to baking the way people normally bake. I usually preheat my pans. And yeah, I should probably consider preheating that aluminum cake pan the next time. Nonetheless, I don't think it's looking that bad. So we can only see how it all turns out. I'm hoping maybe about another 5, 10 minutes. Lots of oil boiling. Yeah, that's true. But remember, that's because I sprayed the you know what out of it with all that baker's joy. So maybe I overdid it. Of course, as J.R. Bob Dobbs says, too much is always better than not enough. So yes, I agree. There's a lot of foam on there from the boiling or foaming baker's joy, and I'm still hoping that that means that the cake will come out okay. But we will have to find out. Handsome, you have to use a toothpick. Right. I think the bundt cake will cook faster because aluminum will transfer the heat better. It looks like that. I'm hoping that aluminum pan will be done within the next 10 minutes or so because we've already gone an hour and 20 minutes here. I was actually expecting them to be done by now. All right, I've dried cakes out waiting for the toothpick to come out clean. It's still baking when it comes out. There is that, yes. So I maybe give it about another 5 minutes, perhaps. I think maybe we'll go with that at least. I got to go to a lot of scrap yards and find all kinds of cast iron, fix, collects, and sells. Yeah, I have had a problem, yes, with my cakes being too dry, and I certainly don't want that to happen. On the other hand, I don't want this cake to collapse either. So we've got one and then the other, but you may be right there. I think I may consider taking it out within the next 5 minutes or so and letting it simply cool from there. And then we will see then how it turns out. Those cakes are dense and takes longer to bake. There is that too. I mean, I'm using fudge cakes and this is definitely a thick and heavy batter. Can't deny that. You saw me making the batter and spilling coffee all over the place. But, well, we will go from there. It's flour on the cake from the baker's joy. Yes, exactly. So, um, well, as I said, all we can do is wait and see. Have you learned your oven's hot and cold spots? You might be in the wrong spots. I think the center of the oven actually has been giving some pretty good heating, and the right side, which is where the cast iron one is, does seem to heat a little bit better, which certainly helps because it's cast iron. Either way, I think I'm going to take them out in 5 minutes, like it or not, and we will continue from there. So, hoping, well, maybe I might be able to extend this live video at least enough so that I can try flipping the cakes one way or another. Because, yeah, I would indeed like to be able to unveil these cakes, fail or not fail, and see whether this little baking battle has any victors at all. Boy, I guess battle is turning out to be a more appropriate word than I expected. I wanted to compare aluminum to cast iron, and well, that's what we're doing, and we can only see how well it turns out. I grease my cake pans, then coat them with flour. I Okay. We use cocoa instead of flour on the regular cake pans for chocolate cakes. Yes, that's baker's goop, and I've had good success with that as well. But you folks have seen that I am really a fan of preheating that cast iron cake pan, and I've had a lot of success with it in general. I have had a couple of failures in certain circumstances, but in general, I've really enjoyed preheating my cast iron cake pans. Usually, they do a good job. The two instances I know of where I can definitely say that preheating the cast iron pan did not work. One was the tunnel of fudge, in fact. Another was that rainbow cake I made a couple of months ago. Both of which I have videos about. You can always take a look at it that way. Are you centered in the oven? Too low on the rack will bake long. I did not use the lowest rack. I use the second to lowest rack on the oven, especially for that reason. I know you have to be centered for baking, yes. So no, it is not on the lowest rack. So I'm hoping that helps at least to give even baking to both the top and the bottom of the cake. Pass the cake. I don't need a fork or knife. Hand it over. Well, thank you very much, Cynthia. Use But yeah, we are indeed getting into cake season. That's for sure. Not just with this fudge cake, but as I mentioned, we're getting into pumpkin spice seasoning, which means we'll be able to do pumpkin spice cakes and autumn cakes. And then, of course, we are getting into the holidays, where we're going to be doing all kinds of cakes, including fruit cakes. And that, of course, is a subject in itself. And I'll probably be doing another fruitcake video, say by December or so. But it's not December yet. It's still August. As of tomorrow, it's still August. Enjoy it while we can. Because yeah, I'm not looking forward to the cold weather again. But it's on its way, like it or not, and we just have to get ready for it. All right. You might want to rotate them too. It's a little late now, considering it's about to come out of the oven. But nonetheless, I guess we'll just, as I said, we'll just see how it turns out. I'd say we are probably at that point nonetheless. Okay. This is going to be the last time. Let's go and see how it turns out. Here we go again. And here is for the last time. Hey, the foam has disappeared. That's a good sign, I hope. Well, no, it hasn't disappeared, but it's gone down. Here is the aluminum pan. And here is cast iron. And actually, boy, look how much this thing rose here. Remember, this is only a little, maybe about half full. This thing has still managed to rise up above the top. So that's not so bad either. Okay, let me turn off the heat on the oven, because the next thing we have to do, why do I smell something burning? Okay. The next thing we have to do is, of course, wait for at least 20 minutes before I can flip this cast iron pan. With the aluminum bundt pan, I believe it does not take as long, and I can probably flip that after about 10 to 12 minutes. And I'm not sure. Actually, I think from observing, I might suggest that it may very well be pulling away, and I may be able to get it out of the pan. Although, yeah, there's some part here that I'm definitely going to have to scrape off before I flip it. The cast iron one, though, doesn't really look so bad. So I'm still going to cross my fingers and be hopeful. Let's move the light over a little bit. And let me break out my camera once again and get a couple of photos, because welcome to Facebook. Actually, no, this doesn't look so bad. There we go. Here's photo number 1, photo number 2. Maybe one more. There we go, for posterity, or at least the title photo for the video. Yeah, now that it's out, it does look like the foam is definitely going away. And I have to say, I don't think these things look too bad. Yeah, let's try to get a closer look view for you here of the aluminum pan. Yeah. Oh, nice crunchy bit there. On the whole, as I said, this doesn't look too bad. I can see how, again, it seems to be pulling away in the center, which I hope is a good sign. And on the whole, I think you could even say that about the edges. except for this edge over here. And this is obviously where I poured the batter out of this pan and poured it into the other pan. So the cast iron one, as I said, I mean, granted, the center really rose, that's for sure. And I'm actually thinking the cast iron one should be able to come out of the pan with little difficulty. I'm crossing my fingers, of course, you never know, but on the whole, I don't think it's looking very bad. I don't think these cakes have collapsed. I think they've risen okay. The only question otherwise is, like you said, whether or not they dried out, and I certainly hope that's not the case. Okay, no more motion sickness, folks. I will just leave this as is. There we go. All right. Oops. No more motion sickness, I said, and I just knocked the camera over. Sorry about that. Okay. There. Now that should be centered. Okay. Um, yeah, there we go. Excuse me again. It's my, boy, you could tell I've been doing this for 3 years from the way I'm struggling with the lighting and the wires and everything like that, can't you? Okay, I'm ready to cut my TV. I hope they look nice anyway. We're in smell-o-vision when you need it. My mother was from the South and would cringe every time someone said pecan. Oh, pecan. Yak, yak, yak. Pecan. Let's take a nosedive in that cake. We got a half bushel of peaches last weekend and they're gone. Yeah, didn't even have a chance to make cakes, did you? Look on my website as well for, I actually made a recipe that I think turned out pretty good. Look up on my website and you will find Southern Moonshine Cake. And that is a cake that uses a lot of peaches as well as a shot of moonshine for flavor. So you might want to take a look at that and see if you might find it appealing, if you don't mind me saying so. Hope you like that. Frosting or no frosting? Well, either way, I'm going to have to let these things cool off, and I won't be able to either frost or ganache them until like tomorrow anyway. So I will have to deal with that tomorrow. Yeah, I think this is actually firming up pretty nicely at this point. So all told, we should be able to flip these probably in just a little bit more than 10 minutes. Because I took it out of the oven. Actually, it was almost 5 minutes ago already. Time sure is flying. So that means we're talking like about 9:45 or so. And then we will flip them, and either it'll be a success or it won't be a success. There's only one way to find out. I should probably start putting my mess away so that we can get this, yeah, so that there will be room to flip the cakes. And that'll be better than me just lying around here. Okay, here's an extra container of brown sugar. Just dump the rest of this in here so that I can throw this thing out. That's one. And this in turn will go with an unopened pack of brown sugar that I got because I thought I would have needed it tonight, and it turned out I did not. So that takes care of the brown sugar. Actually, I have to put the brown sugar over here. Let's see. Also here would be the canola oil and the salt. Yeah, I am so glad I am in the habit of cleaning up my mess right away. Okay, the baking powder and baking soda. And finally, that teaspoon we used, teaspoon measuring, goes into the sink. The scissors I used. And finally, the third cast iron cake pan. Put this back over here. And with that, we now have the entire counter free to use when we flip the cakes. So that's not so bad. The cake in the Lodge pan looks like it may turn out better. Yeah, I'm thinking so myself. But again, if you saw what happened, that again, I will fully accept the blame for that. I put a little bit too much batter in the aluminum pan and not enough batter in the Lodge pan. And so I took the aluminum pan and just poured some of the batter from here into here. And this may very well have disrupted the settling of the cake. So if this cake sticks, it will be my fault. You may very well be right that it might be that this Lodge pan may come out. I'm going to do my best to get both of these to release because no, I'm doing my best not to be biased in favor of cast iron. I mean, even though this is supposed to be cast iron versus aluminum, I would like there to be two successful cakes here. I mean, two cakes are better than one. So, yeah, I hope I can get both of these to turn out successfully. But well, all we can do is try it and see. Which also reminds me, I've got to dig out a couple of plates, not plates, platters for these cakes. Hold on one second. Excuse me again, because I've got to get under here. Ugh, and see what we have. Let's see. Here's one that I use regularly. And also here is hold on. Yeah, gotta get a couple of things out of the way for it. And here's another. Okay, here we go. Here are our cake platters. All right. So at this point, we're down to about 7 or 8 minutes to go before the flip. Concerning the Lodge fluted pans handles, is there any difference between the older version versus the reissued version? Yes. The handles are much bigger on the reissued version. The original vintage Lodge fluted cake pan did have these handles, but they were smaller. They have very much increased the size of the handles on these newer reissued versions. In fact, this seems to be a standard handle size for Lodge now because this is the same size as the helper handles on all of their cast iron skillets. They're 10-inch, they're 12-inch skillets, and now they've even reissued the Lodge cast iron wok with these handles instead of the rounded handles that wok used to have. So they're actually making it something of a standard. And that's not necessarily a bad thing because now that means I'm not flipping it yet. I still have a few minutes to go, but this I'm glad to use. These handles here work great for flipping the Lodge pan. And I just realized there are no handles on this, so I'm going to have to be careful with this one. Okay. All right. Preppy Kitchen has a great no-knead bread recipe technique on YouTube. Well, I have not had much luck trying Preppy Kitchen's recipes. I can only hope it turns out okay for them. They came out the right height, not far to drop when you turn them over. There is that. So, yeah, run a knife around the edges before flipping. Absolutely, Celine. I agree there. And that's why I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that they will come out clean, especially the aluminum pan. But anyway, nonetheless, there we are. Both of these are nice pans. Especially for $5, I certainly don't regret getting this aluminum cake pan. And notice I'm saying that before I actually take the cake out. So I'm trying not to be biased there. I really enjoy using the cast iron cake pan. It was a learning curve on this thing, but I really enjoy the cakes that I have made in this. And it's really just a matter now, as I said, I am not exactly on pins and needles, but I am getting a little more anxious as we count down the final 5 minutes before we actually flip these cakes. And we can always go from there. I think I might use like my Lodge cake pan and make a meatloaf. That sounds good as well. So, but yes, you're right though about I'm gonna have to run a knife around the edges. So let's see if I can find something that would be appropriate for that. Um, okay, because I've got several options here, and I think I'll ask you folks some questions. Would you prefer to run, which of these would you prefer to run around the edge of this? Would you want to do this frosting spreader or this knife, which does not seem to be very flexible, whereas the frosting spreader is flexible? I would probably want to do the frosting spreader for that reason. On the other hand, this knife has a knife point to it. So, which would you prefer to use to loosen this cake from the pan? Now, let me see what kind of comments might have about that. It's interesting they're the same pattern. Well, yeah, the pattern itself, Nordic Ware did not invent this pattern for their aluminum pans. The pattern, oh, this is still hot. The pattern has actually been around since the days of the Google hoof pans from Europe of the 1800s. We have seen there are Griswold cake pans out there with the same design on them. And those Griswold cake pans were almost certainly made before Nordic Ware came out with the Bundt. So the design has been around for a while. The knife might fit into the smaller areas better. Knife thinner to get into tight corners. Okay, based on that, yeah, I neither. I would let them cool and then dump them out. I know I have learned from experience that with the Lodge pan, I can get it out after 20 minutes. This pan is still hot, but usually I can flip it out with no problem at all, even then. And that's why I would rather get this out now, not before it's completely cooled. So, okay, Terry, me too. I would let them cool and dump them out. It would be safer. Well, I've actually been doing these cake pans, these cast iron cake pans for about 10 years or so. So I'm actually fairly confident I can at least get the cast iron pan out okay. And in fact, I think I will demonstrate that to you. All right. If I use my plastic George Foreman grill flipper, it's a hack kitchen tool. Give it about 5 more minutes to cool off. I would use a fillet knife. Hmm. Okay, well, there is that. I guess maybe you're talking about this one then. Okay, well, that's certainly something to consider. Nonetheless, as I said, I am less worried about the cast iron pan because I am much more used to baking in this one. Of course, I could end up with egg on my face nonetheless, but I feel pretty confident that the Lodge pan is going to flip out okay. I use plastic knives like the ones that you get at fast food places. They bend and they won't scratch the pan. With the aluminum pan, that might be a point, but scratching cast iron, I'm not too worried about that. All right, yes, long and thin. Okay, another few seconds or so. Too sharp of a point, and you will scratch the pan. All right, well, I think if nothing else, because as I said, I feel more confident with it, I think we can actually do the Lodge pan first. So move this to the side, get it out of the way. Get this thing and move these out of the way. All right. Also, try to give you a good view of this, if at all possible. Hold on. Cord from this camera is catching, and I don't want that to happen. There we go. All right, that's pretty good. Okay, clutter. I don't want clutter, too much clutter. Let's move this out of the way. Clutter is a bad thing. So move these out of the way. And what we do here is, I'm proud to say I learned this trick myself using these handles here, because Lodge did not include these handles with their Bundt pan. However, they work great with it. Okay, now that means, oh yes, exactly as you said, we need to be sure to release it. So just start pulling away at the sides. This is not going to be very difficult, I don't think. Not at all. And then there's here, here. Yeah, this feels pretty good. And here. Of course, well, yeah, here I am sounding all confident, but we really won't know until we flip it, will we? Well, now's the time for it, folks. Now or never. Let's put this on the top carefully. I've done this more than enough times. Yeah, more than enough times. And come on. There we go. Got it. Got it. Oh, God damn it. There. Haha. No, oh, crap. All right. We're not done yet. There we go. That wasn't so bad. Now let's move this back over. And haha. I am not deliberately making this harder. Promise. Okay. Here we go. Ready, folks? 3, 2, 1. Bam! Ha ha! And there we go. I told you, I was confident that this one would come out of the Lodge pan. And look at that. Boy, this thing is even standing up on its edges here. So far so good. We are 1-0. So far in this Bundt cake battle, the Lodge pan has pulled ahead, which also means I can get the cover for this. It's not exactly centered, I will say that much, though, unfortunately. Regrettably, kind of put it a little bit too much to the edge. There we are. Oh, you too. All right. No point wasting time. Let's just simply, there we go. And now we can let this thing cool. Oh. However, this might have been the easy one because the fun one is about to come. It's either going to work or it's not. And what's more, I don't have the handles for this one. So yeah, this is going to be an adventure, all right. You know how I've said I like trying new things? Well, we've got a new thing coming up right now, folks. Actually, I don't even need that. All right, because no point wasting time. Let's find out what happens, shall we? Now, based on that, especially since this thing works so well, here comes the frosting spreader again. This thing is still, it's still pretty hot. Okay. Well, it actually feels like it's pulling out okay on the sides here. And meanwhile, over here, hey, this doesn't look too bad. If you could see it well in the camera, you could see that this is peeling off nicely. In fact, you can even put the frosting spreader out underneath. I'm actually feeling a little bit more confident now, folks. But there's only one way to find out, isn't there? So let's try to get this, and it is definitely still hot. Which means what I really need to do once again is make sure I don't. Okay. And oh no, you don't. Okay. Here we go. All right, now that we've done that, how are we going to do this? Oh, I think I might as well just do it this way. And hot. Oh, there we go. Oh, wow. That was not as bad as I feared. However, well, two things. One is, look at this. That actually turned out very nice. Whew. Oh, I guess I kind of overreacted. This looks pretty darn good. However, I have to say it's got a much more rounded shape, whereas the large cake pan definitely has more of an elaborate shape to it. Let me bring out the large cake. Now that they're both out, let me get a couple of shots without of the actual cakes. Because the worst of it is over now. We did it. Whew. Boy, was I worried. All right. However, take a look. If you compare the two, you can see that this one here definitely does not have as elaborate a shape as the large cake. So there really is a difference between the two. Whoa, look at the cord from this. Let me move this over here. Let me try moving this light back over here and see if we can get a couple of shots of these cakes, shall we? Maybe I should move my mixer a little bit. Not much, because I don't want to drop it or anything. Nonetheless, I definitely should take a couple of pictures of these cakes before letting them cool off completely. But there we go. Whew. Yes, I was worried. This one looks like a big donut. Anyway, here is the aluminum. And here is the cast iron. Nonetheless, I am very relieved because we did it. Oh man, I got myself worked up. I don't know if it was worked up for nothing or if my concern was genuine, but it worked. Okay, here's one. On the other hand, over here, yeah, we're just about done, folks. I know we're running late, but I'm hoping this was worth it. Because now I get to do this. This was a nice coincidence. These two parts did not come together. I found both of these at Chinese restaurant stores, and that is this. This bowl fits perfectly on top of this. So Oh, that means we've got 2 cakes cooling off. Oh, but there we go. Thank you for your patience, folks. It's done. We now have 2 fudge cakes. And furthermore, at least on the outside, they both feel pretty moist too. Nonetheless, we got it. Ugh. All right, let me check all of these. This was fun to watch. Well, thank you very much, Jim F. Let's all keep repeating that. Yes, Cynthia. Take that lid off. Take the lid off. Wait a second. You want me to take the lid off? Let them cool without the lid. Okay. I will let them cool without the lid. You're sure they're not going to dry off? But I have just taken the lid off, that's for sure. Nonetheless, I'm doing as you say, and I am letting it cool this way. Now, remember, I've got to go to bed as well. And I'd have to ask if you would want this to remain uncovered for the next 5 or 6 hours. Hot cakes will sweat with the lid on. Well, there is that. Okay, I guess I'll have to consider that. What if I, okay, we all vote uncover them. Okay, well, it's uncovered. As you can see, I am taking your advice, folks. No, just a few. Okay. All right. They feel moist because they're getting steamed. Take the lid off to prevent condensation till cool. You'll get too much moisture. Leave them off for half an hour. Okay. And the first 2 hour, is this the first 2 hour show? I have actually done another show that was almost this long. But yeah, this is pretty long. Yes, I admit I let it go quite long. But I can only thank everybody for your patience because here's the result. Yes, I was really worried that these cakes were going to stick or worse, but it looks like we got it. So there we go. I still like the shape of the Lodge cake versus the Nordic Ware cake. And I would really, given a choice between the two, just based on this, I would probably prefer the cast iron because of the shape. It's even so, both of the, I mean, I don't think anybody's going to complain about this cake once we actually frost it and serve it. So I will take your advice. And we are going to have to get going because, yes, this is running on 2 hours, isn't it? Oh, it's getting late. I do have to work tomorrow and we've got to get going. But we accomplished what we set out to do. And a lot of it is thanks to your advice. And I'm not just saying that. I took your advice in a lot of ways in getting these cakes done. And as a result, these cakes are both of them, I would have to say, are a success. And I can only thank everybody for your advice. It demonstrates yet again that I'm not a professional. I'm more than open to criticism because thanks to your, again, thanks to your comments, we've got cake. This is delicious cake. You must eat it. And having said that, good night, everybody. Yes, exactly. Good night. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry that took so long, but still, I think I have to say I'm very happy with these results. And I can only thank everybody for all of your help. Thank you for all of your advice and for your comments, everybody. To Chris McGee and Pawpaw Dan, Corey Clark and Kimberly Miller, Debbie and Cast Iron Fanatic and Buckshot Mick and so many others. I did the hard work, but I did it because it was fun. This part actually looks like it might be coming up. No, maybe not. Well, I shouldn't poke at it. Okay, but yeah, I did this because it was fun. I wanted to have some fun making cakes, and this has been a lot of fun. Cleaning the mess up is not going to be fun, but that's also my job. And other than that, though, we will just have to call this a night, and we will continue from there. Next week, as I mentioned, is our first of the month Q&A session. That's where we'll have a nice cast iron discussion in front of the big cast iron rack, and we will see what happens from there. But thank you very much for showing up. I do hope folks are kind enough to show up next week. I do my best to entertain all of you. And yeah, I'm definitely exhausted, but it's been a lot of fun thanks to you. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, everybody, and we will have to call this in a night. And happy holiday, everybody. I'll be laboring around the house. Yes, Labor Day is next week. So once again, one more work day. Well, that sounds fun for you, Corey Clark. And thank you, everybody, for all of your advice. And have yourselves a good evening, folks. Don't poke that hot cake. Yes, exactly. I'm not going to touch it now. We'll just leave it where it is. And I'll see all of you next Wednesday. Have a good evening, folks.